Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope and I pray that we always do. I'm just a question asker. My name is Raheem. I'm here to ask a few questions. You know what this is, man. This is Black Conversations. This is the day that we open up the phone lines 508 924 3521 508 924-3521. Open up the phone lines and you be able to talk about what it is that you want to talk about. Whatever you want to talk about, we will talk about it today and we will talk about it in its entirety. Now, I said I'm just a question ask. I'm not important, but the one that is important, this is my brother from another mother, but we got the same father. This is Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
Man, had some difficulty this morning, man. My doggone mic wouldn't work for me, man. I was like, man, what the world going on? I was talking to you earlier, but I don't think you could hear me.
No, I couldn't at all.
Yeah, I said, I see him right there. I said, I see him on the line. I said, Leonard. I, I was talking on something, man. You couldn't hear Nathan. I was saying not nothing, but Nathan. I was saying, but good morning, brother. What you getting into, man?
I'm going on a fishing trip.
Oh, relaxation.
Yeah, I'm going up to meet my best friend in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Hanging out on the lake.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, what you fishing for today? Or this weekend?
Well, hopefully we'll be catching a lot of crappie, walleye,
Mm-hmm.
then freshwater fish.
Okay, cool beans. Cool. You ain't going for no bass?
If they so happen to bite, I'm pretty sure they're gonna wind up in some grease.
There you go. Shh. That's the last sound they gonna hear. Shh. Reaching up for 'em. Hey, they had the last. Well, I'm not gonna say the last. Well, the last schedule. I think they planning on scheduling some more hearing last night. One of the things, Leonard, I heard from that hearing, they was talking about how the ex-president did nothing in regards to stopping it. Said not only did he do nothing, he sit there and he watched it on television. They say that he could have made a call, immediately made a call, and stopped everything. Now, Leonard, I don't want to read too much into it, but are they also saying that he has a power, some kind of leadership over the insurrectionists, whereas he had some kind of connection or contact where he could just do something like that and they would immediately go away? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I think that's a real simple answer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what he could have done was follow protocol for such incidents,
Mm-hmm.
and that would have really suppressed what was going on a lot sooner,
Mm-hmm.
before all that damage was done, and even before they breached the White House, period.
Mm-hmm.
But saying whether or not he could have called it off, no,
Okay.
no.
See, I see. I may be so silly, man. I think he could have called the thing off. He could have told people to go on, like he did after 90 some minutes or however long it was. He said, okay, y'all go home. Y'all are good people. Blah blah blah. Go home, and they went home. He could have did that 90 some minutes earlier, and you wouldn't have had as much damage as you had.
Right. I just believe once you set certain wheels in motion, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
He
true.
was not acting as the commander in chief of
Mm-hmm.
our military.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about people just as ignorant as he is.
Mm-hmm.
So once the dog get to biting, it's hard to call him off.
Yeah. You're right. You're right about that. Ibrahim, good
So
morning.
you lose control.
Mm-hmm.
You lose control of violence once it starts.
Yeah.
And then you have to suppress it. He
Right.
could have made a call and suppressed that violence
Mm-hmm.
with the resources,
Mm-hmm.
such as the United States military
Mm-hmm.
and all the other agencies. but he chose not to do that.
Wow. Wow. Lack of
Because
responsibility.
that was not the plan.
Lack of responsibility. Lack
Good
of
morning.
Ibrahim, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing all right this morning. You know, unfortunately, I had the pleasure of watching all of those January 6th things.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, what it's shown is paying attention, right, and listen to all of them, and also the takebacks. He instigated it. He had formal knowledge and had talked to people formally, planned it, participated and planned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if y'all had seen it. And not only that, he could have stopped it. He could have stopped it before it started, because it started before the mess over, because they had already planned that as far as having weapons and bombs. And he had talked to Secret Service to allow these people in, because, you know, yesterday we were talking about like Washington D.C. is like a lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like a prison, right?
Yeah.
The prison keeping people out. But however, he planned that. They had already had advised ways for people to get in and to use their weapons. And I don't know what the whole plan was, but they instituted. And then not only could he have stopped it during the process, he did stop it. 197 minutes later, he stopped that by simply founding a speech they told him and text the correct people that had planned the incident with him to tell him to stop. Your good people go. And it stopped right away.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people paid attention to that, because I seen it when it was going on. As soon as he came out with that the last text, and he spoke that video thing, it ended abruptly.
Yep.
You know, not just like, and you're right, he did not do his job. He could have called in more police. He could have called the National Guard. He could have called in the whole United States military. Well, the United States military a little far reaching, so there's a lot of reasons to that. But he could have stopped. He should have stopped that immediately. Not only that, he planned it. So what they're building up to, and we'll see in September. They already planned to do September. They're taking a break now. So the next one over here will be the early September, right? Or the January 6th thing, up until November, the voting season, right? And maybe beyond, maybe spring of next year. So what they get into, see, and a lot of people don't know, and I heard Brother Hicks say yesterday that they're not being fair. All the people that are testifying are Republicans that were or aides to the White House.
Yeah.
Including his family members testifying. No Democrat has testified against or for Trump in this whole thing. That's the whole thing, talking about fairness, right? And secondly, this is not a criminal trial. It is a congressional hearing.
Yes.
To look at facts and evidence. So, you know, they don't have to allow the person, which they have allowed him. As a matter of fact, I heard people, all the witnesses were a Democrat. I mean, were Republicans. A Republican aides to the President of the United States, former president, during the time of the insurrection and before. The whole 4 years. He had people going, one woman going there and say that even National Security has secretly or somehow lost all their files on that, but they had one secretly testify to the point, and one of the Secretary aide that seen that was in the car with him, that he grabbed the guy and told him to turn around.
Yeah.
The Secret Service knew that this had became a sedition. So they decided not to take the president to the Capitol, because it would have been over with. It would have been they was participating in sedition, right? So they chose on their own. So former people, professional politicians people, chose on their own not to participate in that seditionary process, right? I guess I made it word seditionary, but I guess that works, right? and so this is everything is right there. Everything is right there. All the facts and evidence. This is not a democratic process to bury the president, blah, blah, blah. Everything that he was charged for, he actually did have a part of. But he is not being charged. There's not rise to the level of the court, whereas that he's being charged for sedition, which I believe should have been, right after it happened. But so he hadn't been charged. And for some reason, the district attorney office the federal district attorney office had not decided to charge him and some people top echelon with that, right? Yet, but it's coming. Everybody now is testifying. Every Republican, everybody attached to the White House that worked in the White House, that was there, seen it.
So Ibrahim, what I'm hearing you say, Ibrahim, is this is not this is not a political thing like Democratic against Republican or nothing like that. It's just they just in there trying to find the facts about what really happened.
That's right. That's right. It's not. It's a process right now. So it's up to the federal district attorney to charge the president and his minions with that. And they've already charged a lot of people with it. Now this was planned because the president had foreknowledge, according to all the information that's been released and has been backed up by the people that have been charged that he planned this.
Mhm.
They had foreknowledge of this.
Mhm.
And even while he was talking, whipping the crowd up, he allowed them to come in against the Secret Service wishes to bring in weapons. They had actual weapons. They had pipe bombs.
Mhm.
They had distributed pipe bombs around.
Mhm.
They brought the noose in. This wasn't no joke.
Exactly.
This wasn't no something that Democrats came up with. This wasn't no Antifa. This wasn't no Black Lives Matter. We couldn't have staged this if we tried in the next 20 years. We couldn't have staged nothing like this,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And you know, with white suits and white skin, you know, whatever. Look here. This right here was a planned takeover of the United States government and to stop the vote, but not only that, but to take over the United States government.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't
Mr.
get no
Hicks.
more clear than that.
Exactly. Mr.
You know,
Hicks, what is your
you can't even write a book.
Ibrahim,
You
hold
can't even
on.
write
Ibrahim,
a fictional
Ibrahim,
book with
hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. I feel you. I feel your passion, brother. I do. But hold on, let me pull some more people in. Mr.
that.
Hicks,
Right.
what's on your heart about this whole situation? What are you seeing?
Was that me?
Yeah, Mr.
Morning.
Hicks. Good morning, sir. How you
Yes, sir.
doing?
Let me get my phone on the speaker. Okay, yes. I went back and looked at some things, and I hadn't been following this January 6th thing. I just really sort of looked at it as just another series of attempts. Start from the Steele dossier, Russian collusion, and the whole thing with comedians, everybody at him. So I never really looked at this thing and never really saw a lot of these transcripts. But Trump was crazy. He did some crazy stuff. He could have stopped this stuff, no doubt, no doubt. But I look at it as being as dogs, pit bulls fighting in the rain. Sometime after the fight is done, the adrenaline, and all that stuff still keep you functioning. Trump had been fighting from the very moment that he came into office. I'm not saying justified or not. We had all the major medias, comedians, comedy, everybody, the whole world. I mean, that other what 60% or whatever percent that were against him. He had 71, they said, with him. But it's a split. I think he reacted off through his whole thing because he was fighting. Fighting is a crazy thing. Fighting for your life, whether it's emotional or physical, the fog of war kind of thing. He was stupid. He was crazy. But I still have questions about why wasn't the National Guard? Why wasn't the National Guards there? Who was in charge of the local police covering that thing? Why did those officers open the door? What about the suspect? They said it was in the crowd. Pushing the crowd off.
Is it possible?
I mean,
is it possible, Mr. Hicks? Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks. Is it Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Is it possible? Is it possible that they were all in cahoots together? That's why all of these things were not done. Is it possible they were all in cahoots?
I'm sure it was. I mean, I think there was people in the Republican Party from the inside that was in cahoots. I think there's a conspiracy involved, but it's just like all the other investigations we had, whether it's 9/11 or Kennedy's assassination, it don't go deep enough.
Okay.
There's no possibility to be cross-examined to pull out these different things. Sure. But from the evidence I see there, Trump, man, golly, it blew my mind.
Wow.
I said, man.
It's a lot. It's a lot on the table, man. Captain, let me ask you this question, and I know I don't want to come to you on the political side because I know you say that's not your lane, and you don't like dealing with that as often. So I'm not gonna come to you in that way. But what I will ask you is this right here: you are a historian and you do study history. What do you think history will say about January the 6th as we go forward?
Well, history is best qualified to reward all of our research, and I show, as the scripture says, the beginning, as it was in the beginning, so shall it end. If America, then she ends on violence, and what you're seeing is the end of the republic. And it may shock some people. This kind of insurrection, treason, whatever. It is a clear
Mm-hmm.
sign. It's a very clear sign of the down of America.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the minister said that Donald Trump went to hell on a rocket ship.
Mm.
As
Good
soon
Lord.
as elected, he
Mm-hmm.
would have done. He have took
Mm-hmm.
America down. Now, will she recover? Well, I don't think so. I think we're looking at the end of white people's rule over the darker people of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion, dear brother.
So there's going to be a sifting. Captain, are you there? Okay. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, as Ibrahim said, it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
And so once the process is finished, then the Department of Justice will make its intentions known. If you read all of the information and things like that, you'll see where they are requesting. They're doing a lot of things as far as trying to collect as much information as possible. They're even securing a lot of evidence of people's personal residences and all those types of things to prepare for the case. It is not a simple thing to convict the president of the United States of wrongdoing. That is not a simple thing. Some of you were alive when Nixon issue came around.
Yeah.
Nixon's issue wasn't at this level. Not at the level of insurrection and this violence and this plan and all of the attempts of Donald Trump to undermine the United States of America. He is not a patriot. He is not someone that cares anything about this nation. He became president for his own personal interest.
Wow.
And no, they all don't. And if people can't see the difference between a Donald Trump and every single other president we've ever had, you're not paying attention or you're blind.
Oh, that's your opinion, bro.
Both ways,
Name
brother.
one.
Both ways.
Name one.
I'm not gonna do that.
Name one that was guilty of sedition against the United States of America.
Check your history. You go do it. You do your research. You see, this is no new thing.
Only person I know got in this much trouble was Nixon. And Nixon didn't go to jail. But that was such a big deal back then. That was supposed to have been the event of the century.
And see, for us to get into a conversation like was about to spark up, it would be my opinion against your opinion, you know. But then again, and that's not, you know, what we like to deal with is facts. Put the facts on the table and let's deal with the facts on the table, and we can examine the facts.
Right.
But my thing is this right here. What we cannot do, and what we should not do, because we have so many other people that's listening to us. Our opinion is our opinion, and like I say all the time, I never give anybody their opinion. You have the right to have your own, and this you're justified in doing so. But my thing is, when it comes down to dealing with the facts, let's deal with the facts. The facts is this man, this president that we're talking about, this ex-president that we're talking about right now, allowed well over an hour and a half to go by. Went into a part of the White House, and not only did he go into that part of the White House, but he sat there and he watched as this whole thing played itself out. He watched.
And Raheem personally, like I say, I'm too young, so I don't know no better. But I don't know if somebody older than me knows. Please let me know which president planned a coup against the United States government.
I think this is only one, but I think if you look at Bush and Cheney, they've been tried on the international court as war criminals. They pulled this whole country into a war based on false information, with the whole thing connected with the powers they got from 9/11. So I'm saying,
how does that relate to sedition against the United States of America?
I'm not comparing the specific. I'm talking about the dishonesty, the very lies and fakes, the corruption, total corruption of the system on both sides. So I'm saying a critical kind of thinking for me, it's like when I say fairness, what about it? I'm saying, yeah, I mean, get this guy. He needs to have some charges against him. He do. When I look at, like I said, I didn't follow the January 6th things. I sort of all last night looking at it, listening to it, even though I think it could be a different format of what they're presenting, that something needs to be done. There needs to be some enforcement of law, just like there always has been, going back. All the way back, there needs to be enforcement of the rule of law. When you don't have the rule of law, you got chaos.
Mistakes. Let me ask you this question: Is Trump, is he guilty? In your eyes, is he guilty?
Oh man, yeah, he's guilty. But I understand it. If you're fighting from the very beginning with all this stuff coming all the way through this thing, with all these impeachments, all this stuff, all the stuff fighting, you got somebody in the middle of a fight, he's crazy. That was crazy stuff. When I read those texts and everybody around him trying to give him advice, it reminds me when you're on the corner, you see two people in a fight, and you're trying to break it up, and you're looking at this guy, you know he's an intelligent guy on the normal position, you're trying to say, whoa, you seeing something that you never saw. He's, come on, bro, come on, man, that's your wife, man, come on now. But he's out there in a craze. He did something, yeah, for sure. But look, let's go back to Gaddafi. Let's go back to Libya. Go back all over this stuff. So you find that.
No, that's somebody GPS is speaking, brother. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm saying, but yeah, I was really actually surprised. But I'm telling you honestly, when this January 6th thing came on, when they start this stuff, and they start calling it insurrection. How you gonna have an insurrection? You got no guns, and you ain't killing people. You know, insurrection. They had no weapons. They fighting against the military power. It was crazy, but they were defined in a way that wasn't real.
So Ibrahim, I'm sorry, Mr. Hicks. Let me ask you this question. I'm gonna go to Ibrahim after that. Are you saying? Am I hearing you say? And please clarify it for me so I can understand, because I may have missed something.
Yes, sir.
Are you saying that they had no weapons?
Yes, they had no weapons. I'm not sure if some bombs were planted. Federal agents who working on the inside, covert, they probably set some stuff. Check this here. If Trump's whole case rested on him entering into the records his disagreement about the election there in the Congress, that's what they would get up there to do. Each one of those Republican people from their states, they'll get up there, present their facts, and had it read into the records. Why would he want to stop that? Why would he want to stop it from going into the records? Somebody wants to stop it.
I'm stuck.
So it's not in the records.
I'm stuck. I'm kind of stuck at a spot right now, and I need to shake myself off of it, because you said, brother, that they didn't have any weapons, and they had plenty of weapons, brother. They had a lot of weapons when it was going through that thing. They did have some guns. They had all kind of, man. They had a lot of weapons. You could pick a stick up off the ground and it could become a weapon if you use it right.
Well, you're not going to take over the United States government. You're not going to go in there and take over, just even taking that bill with the military power. It's still 16s and them special ops kind of folks they got, man. These people got some technology. No way.
My thing.
They knew all by the time it was over, they knew each one of those guys' names, where they live. Possibly,
but that don't change the fact, man. They stormed the Capitol building. They tore down the windows and doors and all kind of things. Went inside and with the intent. And when it went inside with the intent, they was marching. They was marching and chanting, "Kill Mike Pence," the vice president of the United States of America. Man, they was yelling out to kill and hang Mike Pence.
I saw it.
That's not a peaceful cry.
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't all of them. It was a corps. It's a cadre. It's a unit.
Brother, it only take one. It only take one person to kill somebody, brother.
I mean, yeah, I know. One person was killed there too.
Yeah, and if they walk, we got to move on, brother. We got a couple other people on the line, but like,
yes, sir.
if we got a whole lot of people, it's like that clip that we saw with Muhammad Ali. If there's 10,000 snakes coming through the door, and there's 1,000 say they're gonna protect me, am I supposed to put down my guard and trust that 1,000 gonna protect me from the 9,000 that's coming through? No, brother. We can't do it like that. Let's go to Tucson. What's Ibrahim? I'm coming back to you, brother. But I hadn't went to Tucson yet. Tucson, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
All right. I think I better listen in on this one.
Oh, we're not gonna stay here long, brother. We're not gonna stay here too much longer. We're gonna shift it. But let me ask you this question before we shift it, Tucson. Is Trump guilty? From where you sitting, is he guilty?
It doesn't matter. Well, in the court of law, there's a process. You're innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
So what we do most of the time in our society is we convict the person without a trial.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have an unfair court system that we already know don't operate justly. Unjustly, yes, we have an justice system that depends on who you are. You can just about get away with anything. It comes out of his mouth. He said, I can shoot somebody and never lose a vote.
Yes,
and he believes that because he knows how this country operates, even our court system. So is he guilty? That would just be my opinion. But let it go to the courts and we'll see. We might find out that we are part of an justice system.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Ibrahim, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, so I think that let's don't minimize this. Let's don't add anything to it that's not there. Number one, you're talking about presidents. The only president that came close to turning this country back over, and that was Johnson. That was Abraham. That was Abraham Lincoln, vice president, when he took over. He gave instead of giving it to the slaves, he gave it to the he gave it all to the people that lost slaves, the masters and stuff, and the plantation owners. He gave them. But other than that, getting to what happened with Trump now, I seen when it went on again, the whole 2 hours of it. You know what I mean? And not only that, I've watched every January 6th committee. There has been not one Democrat, and maybe I'm wrong, but not Democrat that was a witness, inside witness to the Trump thing, right? Number one, now, and you're talking about people that President Bush jumped on, like poor my poor friend ex-president Trump. Well, what about Obama? They literally, the whole Senate literally told Obama they weren't gonna pass anything that Obama had, and he was able to pass some 20 presidents before him were unable to pass, even before Reagan tried to pass Affordable Health Care Act. And it was Obama that pulled it out with a Senate. They told him they weren't going to pass anything. Anything he had to say, they weren't going to listen to it. They even got up, one person he got up in the middle of the Senate and called him a liar when he was talking, he was doing, and poor Trump. I don't remember nothing like that happened to him. It was the Republicans that railed against him before he got in office because they knew what kind of person he was. Trump was a Democrat up until he ran election. Now, getting back to the January 6th thing. It is clear evidence from people that were there, his family members, his daughter, his son-in-law, Jared, all his supporters, right, have stood up and said and told exactly what this man did from day one. They wish they hadn't supported him when they tried to remove him as president, because they know what he had already done before and after. He hasn't done anything profitable or good for this country. He went, everybody, people try to pick up, they say China. He didn't do nothing with China. He created China, made a bigger enemy. You know what he did, right? He didn't cause any money to be gained by his country. The gross net, we talk about a lot of things that we don't even understand. We talk about inflation, and because he gave people that were hungry money, when the gross national product depends on people spending money. Now, if we had inflation along with the gross national product being down and all that, then you're talking about 1935 and 1932. You know what I'm saying? So let's, we are pushed around by so many people that got so many lies to tell, but they're not, opinions, and I don't make opinions. Well, I do make opinions, and this is based on fact. So it's my perspective, not an opinion. But my perspective over the years of paying attention to the politics and the government and everything, and the civil rights movement, that people look out for their best interest and the best interest of their clientele, you know, and that's what everybody should do. But only Trump was looking out for his own interest. Everybody said that from day one. This man has looked out for his number one own interest, and he used those people that will help him gain his personal interest, his financial and power interest. And not only that, he will throw him under the bus once he get exposed. Amen to President Reagan. That's what Reagan used to do. As soon as somebody get caught, he throw the people on the bus, and they would fall on the sword for him. You know, so we got all this plus. Now, he was a student of these former presidents. He was a student of world geopolitics and other fascist leaders. He understood how you get fascism. You know, I mean, there's actually a science for that. You can study that. It tells you about how you can become a fascist or a leader like that, right? It's a science.
Yeah.
They tell you exactly everything that he did compared to that book. You read the book, obviously. It tells you how to be a fascist leader, how to be it tells you that people and American government, people love that type of leader, but they cry for freedom, but they love a person that calls the shots and do everything. They will give him pass. You know, if you tell them that, well, maybe let's think this out. They'll say that you don't know what you're doing. You're not confident in yourself. You know, if you make another decision, they say, oh, you're contradicting yourself, blah, blah, blah. But if you sit up there, blah, 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 they'll still salute you and call you an a-hole.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Hold right there, brother.
You know, so that's all I got to say.
Yeah. Hold right there. I got to keep this thing moving, man. Y'all are passionate this morning, man. I'm loving this, man. Leonard, what's on your heart?
You know what? It's man, me and Ibrahim could be sitting somewhere drinking coffee, talking to each other right now. Because very rarely is me and Ibrahim on the same page.
Exactly.
No. I'm so glad to hear him add what he just added. I'm sick of it, bro. I'm really sick of it. If you want to sit there and somehow wickedly, subconsciously, or whatever believe that this man was all right, that's you. You on their side. Rock with that. Just get the T-shirt and everything else.
You're talking to me.
because it doesn't even matter to me anymore. People that support Donald Trump are not on my side. Period. There's no we sit down, come to Jesus about his problem and how he was taking advantage of. Oh, he was, man, screw that man. The man ain't never been no good. I didn't like him 20 years ago. Because he was nasty 20 years ago. He was a racist then. Then you allow him this type of power as if he's going to do something for the people of the United States of America. This man will make his executive orders were for everybody else except for him. Excluding his companies. He's partnering with the opposition. I ain't been alive long enough, but y'all older people remember when black people and everybody else was called so-called communists and all these other types of things. And who's his best friend? Who's his best friend in the beginning?
Putin.
The leader of Russia. Come on now. We're not gonna act as if this is a rational conversation. No, it's not. This is the same reason why Charles can't participate in certain conversations like this.
Wow, good deal.
Because you're blinded.
Good deal. Good.
And it's sad. You got 3 eyes, and you can't see this evil in this man.
508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. Love to hear what you're saying about this conversation we're having this morning, and asking a very simple question. And whether you agree or you don't agree, it's okay. I like to have dialogue. And so give us a call. 508-924-3521. Asking the question, is he guilty? Is he guilty?
Hey, Raheem.
Yes, sir.
You know how I feel? Like Jesus must have felt when he went in there and turned the tables over. you know you're not right. And you're right up there in the White House. Let them people come in front of the world and destroy the White House like that. The very seat of government. Shouting, kill the hang the vice president.
Yep.
Come on, man.
May I make one last comment? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, the comment I was going to make that was he did take over the White House. I know it was stated that how could they take that over without weapons? It makes no difference the number of weapons or contacts. See, a lot of people, if you're really a historian about takeovers of government, I mean any government from the Roman Empire, what do? You enter the legislature body, you take it over. You don't even have to kill anybody. You run everybody out, and then you hold court. You hit that job. When that guy was on that stand, a lot of people pay attention, and I told a lot of people about it. If he had to hit that job and command a meeting, and people had took seats from their respective states or whatever, and said, and call it to order, that was the take over the United States government. You didn't, at that, even if it wasn't successful or it didn't last, right? That would be a successful takeover, period. And if Trump had showed up as a citizen or a president of the United States and then stood with them and then selected somebody to hit that job, right? Then that would have been a complete takeover of the United States government. See, we got to understand the political and the symbology of what's going on. Why do you think they stand up there with a gavel? Why do you think they call these things into fruition, right? If you have to go Masonic law. If you go what's the book on Robert Rules of Order, which they use, right? If you use Robert Rules of Order, you see why it's important, why that symbolism is important. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what occurred, right? We seen it in front of our eyes, not the guy sitting up on Nancy Pelosi's desk with his foot up on the desk, but the people in the body of the chamber of Congress taking charge of the United States government. At that very moment, they were in the right hall. The symbolism was correct. If they had followed Robert Rules of Order, that would have been a coup, a takeover. And like the people that were protecting Trump and then chose not to let Trump do what he wanted to do, knew that if he showed up at the state capitol with these people that were ordered by him to show up and were allowed to carry weapons inside it, which is against the law in Washington, D.C., allowed to carry weapons where they were spears or guns, and they did have guns. They did have automatic weapons. They had spears and da-da-da-da-da, right? But these were weapons just the same. But when they walked into that center of government, they took over the government. It was very short-lived, but the government was literally taken over. Let's don't minimize this, right?
Exactly.
It is important. You look at Robert Rules of Order, parliamentary procedure, anything that you want to look up, that was a takeover. You look at any history you want to, from recent history all the way back to Roman and Greek history. When you do that, that is a takeover of a government, period. African history, the takeover of different African countries, right? And Libya, that man was for us. He's going to give $1 billion to Farrakhan to help black people take back this country.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just go, don't let get him started, right? He had free medicine, free this for people in Libya.
Yeah.
Right? We chose to call him an enemy because he did things differently. He was the enemy of our state. That's what they said. That's what they was saying. But Libya, they loved the man. Look what he did to Syria. Syria was a beautiful country. Now it's nothing but a pit hole now. Because America, when that said they don't like us, they're against us, right? Let's be correct in our understanding and assessment of things. And so we have perspectives and not opinions. Now, I respect the perspective. Opinions, like you said, everybody got one,
Exactly.
Y'all got to use the restroom.
Exactly.
But perspective is something, is a thought. It's a thought.
Ibrahim, hold on, brother. Ibrahim, you on a roll this morning, brother. You on a roll. You like that jelly. You on a roll, brother. That was a good inside little joke. But anyway, Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, I'm gonna ask you a question. Now, I know the answer. I know what your answer is gonna be. You're probably gonna go from 0 to 100 real quick. But is Donald Trump guilty? All these hearings that we're having, all this evidence that's coming forward, is he guilty, Cassandra?
Why do you do that? I don't. I just don't understand why you do that to me. It's like a personal attack. You know that.
Hey, you my big sister. I can talk to my big sister now. I can talk to my big sister.
I see. No. I mean, only somebody that is, and I'm not talking to anybody on this line. Only somebody that is just totally want to be blind. It's like the three monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. You got to just be dumb, deaf, and blind to not realize what happened, and that this man is guiltier than most of the people we seen going to jail for crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's guilty. He's guilty. The very people who he sent to the state capitol have literally said out loud, the only reason I'm here is because my president told me to come.
Mm-hmm.
What more do you mean? The people who were in the offices with him during the cool seat, whatever y'all want to call it, see, they've said that he was guilty, and they tried to talk to him, tried to talk him down. But the man, I really believe that this man is so mentally disturbed, mentally ill, that he is going to say, I'll leave right there.
Deranged.
Yeah, that's a good word, deranged.
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say this and I'm going to stop. And even for those that say they're spiritual, I'm not talking about religious. I don't care if you're Muslim, Buddha, whoever you believe in. If you are spiritual, if you listen to this man and you let your spirit tell you, you know that there's something wrong with him.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Let's go to we got Joseph with us this morning. Joseph, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, sir, and good morning to your listeners as well, man. I mean, iron is sharpening iron this morning, and I'm enjoying every bit of it.
Yes, sir.
Sandra hit it right up the head. Yes, I believe he's guilty. I believe it was a well thought out plan. Stephen Bannon said, in his diatribe on his podcast, that all HE hockey stick is going to break loose tomorrow. He said that.
Mm-hmm.
He knew. There were a number of people around who helped plan this insurrection, and they were hoping they had a critical mass with the military and others in Congress, and they do have quite a number of people in Congress who will back such an effort, because it's not over yet.
Mm-hmm.
And if any of us think that it is over, we got to be crazy.
Yeah.
And we do well to inform ourselves and stay alert and be prepared for whatever, because even as far back as when the election was stolen from Mr. G.W. Bush with the help of Jeb Bush in Florida and the Supreme Court, those three elements helped GW steal the election. Now that precedent was set.
Mm-hmm.
And this group, Trump and his handlers, were hoping to use some of the elements from that steal to do this steal. And now they have passed these voter suppression measures in these red states, so they have enough now to create another situation like the G.W. Bush situation, where they could actually steal it and let the court preside over it. That's dangerous for this republic. It's dangerous for the democracy. And they're counting on those of us who are part of this multiracial element that is emerging in America right now, that is closing in on the seat of power. They are hoping that we are not as astute and not paying attention. And then they're hoping that we'll be passive enough to accept whatever they give us. Now, the other thing is this Conservative Partnership Institute, and y'all may know about this already. I'm a little slow sometimes. But
ain't nothing slow about you, brother. Ain't nothing slow about you.
This is their propaganda machine that fashions all of their talking points, and now we can expect for them to come out with some new talking points around this select hearing findings, and just wait for it. It's going to be like clockwork. They're already starting. I encountered them on Facebook, trying to explain away everything that's happening. But that man is guilty, Brother Raheem. He's guilty as the day is long.
Absolutely, absolutely. VP, good morning, sir. How are you doing this morning? VP, you there? Okay, VP may have stepped away from his phone for a second. Let me go back to Mr. Hicks. Mr. Hicks, what's on your heart, sir?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm practicing my Tai Chi, dodging blows, using the art. But I sort of look at it like this here. I think, like I said, I think we asked again, what time, in what generation, a decade we want to raise our children. I said this because it was a time of revelation and things that are hidden coming out. And the principles that we see written throughout the scriptures, all the scripture, that says, pride go before a fall. As a man sows, so shall he reap. I see in terms of what's happening to Trump, and what's going to happen to everybody. No one escapes. No one get away. Again, like this is not the first election that attempted to be stolen. I mean, the history is laden with different things that have happened. But it's not like I look at this thing with Trump and see him as a good guy or anything like that. But I see things as I see it. I see how it's a selective kind of process. When they gear our whole attention toward one specific incident. But as far as like being on the left side or right side, being on people, I'm not nobody's side. I really try to strive by
Mr. Hicks, let me ask you this question. Mr. Hicks, let me ask. Am I hearing some of your dialogue right now? Am I hearing you say that Trump is pretty much a victim in this whole situation?
No.
Okay, I just want to be clear.
He's reaping what he sowed.
Okay.
In his life, you study his life, his Christian theology, his family, where they come from, how they mix spirituality with money, and justifying, almost like justifying the what you call situational ethics, not a principled person. So he's reaping this, and he is guilty. But I'm saying, you go back again, you find a whole bunch of other people who got away because the strings are left untied because some event that happened right there at that time took. It's like on 9/10, the day before 9/11, it was disclosed that there's so many $1 trillion was missing from the federal budget, and then the buildings go down with all the records in the building number 7 that goes down without being attacked. But these are strings untied. This is justice. But again, I say this is the time. Everything is. I think Trump. The best thing about Trump, he revealed what's underground in almost half of the population of this country.
That's good. That's good. VP, coming back to you, brother. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
Hey, doing good, doing good. VP, what do you think about this whole conversation, man? Is Trump guilty? Is he? Are we missing something? Are we missing something in this whole process of what's going on with all these hearings and all the stuff because it's been said earlier that majority of the people that's speaking, if not all the people that's speaking, are from the Republican Party, and they were part of Trump's camp, but they're speaking against him. So is he guilty?
Definitely. I mean, that's the easy question. You could just tell some part of motion of that. However, I think Trump is more guilty of being a paid, kind of almost like a paid mercenary. I wouldn't say the Republican Party, the far right movement, and with conservatives, that these people, this is just the cream of the crazies, not but their actions. This water that's waiting, that I think Trump, with his president, and I think on against him, know the aftermath, what destruction they're planning, because I think here how Trump was friendly with Putin, and then all of a sudden when Trump comes in war, which seems to be always a conservative play in the book to have when the power shifts over strength, and to have style the Capitol building to stop the election says a lot about let's say white Americans, like how we should really start identifying these. They want to be known, you know. I think a popular idea just being called American, or having that and do things still these people, these and they're and who follow, feeling like they still have some support complex, or they have to them to
Hey,
in a nation.
your volume is skipping in, your volume is skipping in and out a little bit.
My phone,
your volume is skipping in, you know.
Man, I gotta switch this phone.
I don't know what you just did, but that was better. I'll try again.
I put in both earphones.
Oh, okay. You're talking out of one side of your head.
So what's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, I got you. Let me go to Leonard. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, it's good to hear reason. And you know what it just kind of reminds me of, and I've been thinking about this for quite some time. You know how you have a person that never picks a team, but they always, after the fact, if they win or not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm on the side of the team that won. You couldn't tell me you was with the Saints before the game. You waited to see who won first, and then you say, yeah, that's who I wanted to win. Had that man been successful, all these people with all this sympathy for Trump would have been still right there with it.
Yeah.
You understand? Soon as the plans start to fail, they start coming out the woodwork because they know they wasn't gonna win. That's why they up there ratting out everything right now, because hey, don't look like we're gonna win this game. So let's try to bargain our way out of going to jail.
I'm gonna tell it.
Now, one thing I can give Trump credit for, this swamp will be drained. Because it's time for that. And we need to purge all of them. If your main goal is not for the people of the United States of America, which puts you in those seats, you do not need to be there. And the American people need to go to the polls like never before. We need to turn out at almost 90%.
Yeah.
Because it makes no sense. People that don't still been around here 80 some years or what have you, that don't understand this process.
Oh, come on.
Because the young people ain't been here that long, but we know mess when we see it. We know BS when we see it. We know what we sick of. We sick of the status quo. So I encourage every young person, wherever you at, local, state, go after these people in these seats that have been sitting there too long to do the right thing.
Exactly. Badger, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
What's on your heart, Badger? Is Trump guilty?
What, for the 6th?
Yes, that's what we're talking
about.
Yes.
More thinks he isn't. Like, absolutely. Anyone that's in that kind of position that makes so many innuendos. It was a conversation that I was having with a couple of people from Paul's group that he does. We were actually talking about Trump, and I was like, Trump is an evil man, and I found evidence and whatnot, and I'm like, when you see a person that is supporting a human being that's talking about, like the overturning of Roe versus Wade, and it's a victory for white people, people that quote Adolf Hitler. And then you see all the things he's done with tariffs, just so many crazy things. It literally makes me feel that the only people that really support him are people that probably have stocks in companies that are making a fortune right now. Those of us that probably don't have stocks, as far as the companies he uses, ain't got no use for him. He's a businessman. He's not a leader. He's a corrupt human being that wants money.
That's good.
If you can't see that, I probably shouldn't say what I want to say on the show.
Good deal, Cassandra. Go ahead, Leonard.
I would also like to add, remember, this is the same president that told police to rough us up. You remember that?
Yeah.
He told the police, rough them up.
I'll pay your bill.
Come on, man. This is what we fight against every day. My organization is standing with people right now, every day, for police misconduct and abuse. What other president supports that type of thing?
Clinton.
We have to be very serious about who we allow to lead, because this nation that's what the big thing is about representation. If 80% of America is against what this guy is talking about, he shouldn't be president. But think about it. We were almost 50-50, which means that we have to deal with this on every level of government. Don't make it just because he was on primetime TV or blah, blah. No, y'all got to go after these sympathizers on these boards of education, all the way. I don't care. Transportation, man, they are everywhere. They are court clerks. They are sheriffs. They are police chiefs and everything. So don't just focus on this man. Focus on everybody that supports this man.
That's good. That's good. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I just want to add into what Leonard just said, because he's spot on. They're everywhere. Yesterday, I was at the SCLC National Convention, and Jesse Jackson was the speaker. Y'all guys know he has Parkinson's, and he was shaking real bad. But man, when that man stood up there and started talking about the things that I don't care nothing about it right now about anything except the speech he made yesterday. And he talked about what is happening in America and how we are going on a backward slide after everything that him and Representative Brooks, who was there, how they've been, gone to jail, spent time in jail fighting for, and we're allowing things to happen that are taking us backwards. And he was dead spot on. We have to vote. You got to vote. You got to get out there and vote. I don't care. I really don't care who you vote for, but you need to check out who's running and vote. I spoke to a young woman yesterday, and if I was in her district, I would vote for her. she's running for the commissioner of agriculture.
Now look at other fighters
and she
fighting.
talked about how her grandparents owned land, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know this is a little bit off, but she was talking about how her grandparents, great grandparents, owned land, and the land was taken from them by white people, like
Now
what
look
they
at other
did back
fighters
then.
fighting us. I must-
And but the man who bought the property, over 100 and something acres, decided that he was going to sell, and her family got
Now
together
look at other fighters.
and they bought that property back, which already belonged to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing rice. The man was doing rice and stuff on the property. And now they're going to take back, which is what their grandparents sold from the property. It was some kind of rice.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, until we stand up, things like that are not going to be open to us. A few years ago, they would have not even sold that family back their own land.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to stand up for the things that we believe in. We got to get out those people that are just determined to be racist, and it's just evil to want to keep somebody in bondage or put people back in bondage for any reason. And I believe that's what Trump represented. I believe he wanted to be authoritarian. His whole thing, he loved dictators and authoritarian figures. Bottom line.
Exactly. When you were saying that, I thought back on Bruce Beach, that is in Los Angeles, California. It was a beach that's there that was taken away from a black family back in the day. They was a well-off family. And they came together and they bought the beach, and they got a lot of opposition from a lot of people. They say from the KKK and all the different people. But what happened was they just appointed it back to them. They say some faulty stuff was done, in intimate domain or whatever they call that thing. That was a part of how they took that property from them. It was, like I said, it was a black family, and they just a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, gave it back to the family. Gave the land, the beach back to the family. And that's in Los Angeles, California. It's a place called Manhattan Beach. If you get an opportunity, go look that up. Bruce Beach is what it's called. Rico, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I'm happy to see you another day, man. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. We're talking about Trump right now, brother. And I know you've been watching these hearings that's been going on. Rico, is he guilty?
Man, he was guilty before the hearings. I mean, I'm wondering, we just gonna talk about this after the hearings, because it's gonna be the same every time until they come up with a decision. You know,
I just want what I like to do is brush up on it and find out, whether any new transactions or anything happening. What was some of the I think of a better word. What were some of the incriminating things that may have came out in this particular hearing that you didn't know in the last?
Well, I mean, I guess some of the behind the scenes stuff that you see him going on, like when he couldn't get the speech right, or he was, being defiant about wanting to say peace and stuff like that. I mean, but after seeing everything play out live in real time, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not really getting in it kind of more
still in the same place.
I'm still in the same place. I mean, it was everything I needed to see happen that day. I mean, so what I'm saying over and over again, true enough, you're hearing the details, but even without the details, you can see what's going on. To me, if anything, what's more important is who were the culprits that were accomplices. We already know his part.
Yeah.
And if we continue to just focus on him already knowing his part, I mean, how much more guilty can you make him? But what about the other people?
Yeah.
What about the people that, like they keep playing Mitch McConnell speaking, but then they need to play him going back and turning his opinion back around. They need to take all those people that were speaking that day and play the other part so they can bring them in too, just to show them just how corrupt this is and the reason why Trump was able to do what he did. Because these are the same people that before he was even elected or nominated that was against him and bashed him, and then they came and he won and they enabled him. They jumped on the bandwagon because it was beneficial. See, that mindset and that behavior, that's what needs to be addressed. That's the whole bigger picture of how insincere and ingenuine and disloyal human beings can be. And when 1 minute they could be going against something that they know is wrong, but when they win and they can't beat it, they'll rather join it.
Yeah, exactly. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Phone lines are open. Give us a call. Paul, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. I agree with Rico. We already know, we've known for 5 years that this guy is guilty of, many crimes. Anyone, honestly, anyone who's in denial or denying the facts of this case is just really ignorant. I mean, they had a plan to have fake electors. They had a plan to use the military. They had a plan to manufacture bogus claims of election fraud. So the only thing that these hearings are doing really is putting Republicans on the stand. People who love Trump, they love the agenda, but this was just a step too far. Some of them, and then some of them are just afraid, like they're wrapped on a sinking ship. So they're like, all right, well, Trump's going down. I don't want to go down with him. I'm going to try to look like a good guy for once. So, all of these people, that's what, a lot of Republican voters don't get. It's everyone who's testified is a Republican Trumper, hardcore.
Yeah.
So, like Rico said, like, what about all these other people who went along with it? They're not being held accountable. And, and also, the whole, like, it's a siege mentality, like conservative Republicans. I don't want to stereotype because they're not all terrible people, but they all have similar characteristics, and it's like they feel like they're losing their country. And you can take that a number of ways, like the country's getting browner, it's getting, more diverse and stuff like that. But also, they bring up a few good points along the way, like our culture is degrading, right? So they can say, look at our culture, and they go, the liberals are doing this. So they can say, you guys can't even define what a woman is. Okay, well, all right, that's not the majority of us, but yeah, there's some people that are a little out there on the left. And then like political correctness. There's certain points that they bring up where there's some validity to it. And then they exploit that. So it's bad. It's bad. I agree with Rico that the issue is not just Trump, because once he's gone, that's going to be a huge relief, because he's a cult leader. If you have a huge cult, you got to get rid of the leader.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean there's not going to be another cult leader coming in, but at least you got to deal with one guy at a time.
Exactly. Navy, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning? Can't hear you, Navy. Can't hear you, sis. Something going on with your feed that we see you talking, because it's moving up and down, but we can't hear you. Go out and come back in. You may have had a call or a text or something like that and messed up your volume. So go out and come back in. Go out and come back in for me. And when you come back, I'll come right back to you. There's a lot of layers on this thing. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm so glad you came back to me, because I avoided the question that you asked.
You wanted to avoid the question, brother? You can't avoid the question,
No,
man. You gotta
answer. I did. I didn't answer the question. I just told you what I thought.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me ask you again.
Because you said it's Trump guilty.
Yeah.
Somebody just said it. He been guilty. He was guilty when he first got in office. He's a guilty person. He done a lot of stuff that he ain't answered to yet. That's why he feels the way that he does. That if you got a couple of dollars, that more than a couple of dollars, ill-gotten gain that he done picked up over the years, that he manipulates people for a living, him and his family, and when it gets time to pay him, he complains and says that he's not satisfied with the work, so he's not going to pay you. And he gets in trouble, and they talk about him being a good businessman. And as a businessman, when he gets in trouble, he just files bankrupt over and over and over again.
Wow.
And there are some people that love the way that he operates, and they figure, okay, he's smart. If he don't have to pay the government and I do what he does, I can be the crook that he's done and get away with it. He's a guilty guy. Have you ever seen the president and his family operate in the office, the Oval Office, like they have?
No. Some say it's called nepotism.
Ain't that a problem in the government that we operate in? Isn't it? Do they have hate crimes? Can you just even in our well, can't say that. There are some people that I hear you. For instance, your daughter says sometimes I can't comment.
Yeah.
Okay. There are some things that we're obligated to uphold in government facilities or government employees that you can't say and do. But we see our president of the United States just belittling people.
Yeah.
That I myself, if I do, I'll be terminated before I could get good in my seat.
Exactly.
Not only is he a criminal, he's a hateful and mean and an evil person. That we cheering on. I'm just saying.
Toussaint, tell us how you really feel about him, Toussaint. Let us hear it, man. How you really feel.
Navy. Well, here's another thing, and I know I'm out of time, but thinking about it is, he's actually a smart guy because he can get away with it.
Yeah.
And almost 70 million people
buy into it. Exactly. Navy, good morning. Let's try this again. Navy, good morning. How you doing this morning? Navy, I don't see you talking, sis. I don't even see you talking this time. Yeah, it must be something going on with your feed, that Navy. Hopefully we'll get it worked out. I'm gonna play something different. We're gonna switch up a little bit. It's 8:34, so we're gonna switch the topic up. And I want to hear. I'm gonna play this video. I'm not gonna play the video itself. I'm just gonna play the sound from it. But I want to hear y'all input on this and tell me what y'all think. Now, this video right here is coming from the greatest of all times, the greatest, Mr. Muhammad Ali.
Can I say something right quick before we get off that topic then?
Yes.
Because this might be something that we need to pay attention to. In this society and in our human nature, we tend to point out different people or different things that go wrong, and we try to solve those problems or hold them accountable. But we have such a tendency to not do the complete job. Now, you know, when Hitler did what he did in Germany, they rounded up everybody that was an accomplice. Because Hitler couldn't have did what he did without accomplices, contributors, and enablers.
Exactly.
Support. And we have people over here in the United States, Prescott Bush, the Rockefellers, and different people that are still free and being uber wealthy and having influence on our way of life. Complete way of life over here and around the world in some aspects. And they were never held accountable as enablers and contributors and accomplices, supporters. They weren't held accountable for making him successful, for doing the travesty that he did. And right now we're seeing this over and over and over again. Right now we're looking at what's going on with Trump, and he has so many supporters, accomplices, contributors, enablers, people that made him successful in what he did. Mo Brooks, up and down the line, people that were against him originally that came back and started supporting this buffoonery. this chaos that he came with. So, I mean, you know, I hope that sooner or later people start learning to not just follow the lead of the ones that's in charge or the ones that's in authority that's leading the program, and to look at things from a bigger picture. Because if we just listen to the narrative that they give when Trump is being taken care of, it's going to be a lot of people that supported him and enabled him that's still going to be walking around promoting that mess under the scenes, behind the scenes, or they're going to be looking for the next Tea Party. They're going to be listening for the next group that has momentum, that's so opportunistic to just jump on whoever is winning, regardless of what they're doing and what they're exploiting. We're going to join them because that's who's winning. These people need to be held accountable too. They need to be all enablers or accomplices that contribute to this type of chaos. Need to be held accountable, but it can't happen unless we make enough noise. 9/11 probably can come back and be investigated again if the public, the people, really start making enough noise and we really demand justice like they did for the Jews.
Exactly.
They're still locking up war criminals from concentration camps. They're still locking them up. They ain't playing. Somebody ought to be getting locked up for Kennedy. Somebody ought to be getting locked up for 9/11 right now. And there's a whole lot more people need to be talked about with this January 6th thing besides Trump. A lot of people. Absolutely.
508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We're going to switch up the topic. Before we do that, Badger, anything on your heart before we move on?
On this topic, I've got a lot, too much. I'll just say it this way. Those that are greedy, selfish, that actually and don't do research are usually the ones that follow Trump. Some of us just need to realize those are who our enemies really are.
Absolutely. Good deal. Now I'm going to play this clip, and I want y'all to listen to this and tell me what y'all think about what the great Muhammad Ali is saying.
Fighting, I said, I must be a fool. Here are two men like two roosters. You know them cockfights. They take two roosters and they put them out and they put knives on them, and the roosters are fighting each other, and they're not even mad, don't know each other, and just to please somebody. And here are two men in the ring fighting each other, and they hitting each other, and they bleeding and they fighting. What they mad about? They're not mad about nothing, and just a bunch of agitating, bloodthirsty people saying you can whoop him, he can whoop him, my man can whoop your man. All right, y'all get in there and fight. Humans should have more sense than that. And you sitting out there dressed up, drinking your beer, and and they just fight, and they just get. And this is serious. The nose is bleeding, the eyes cut, the teeth is out, and the brain. They might have a concussion just to please you, human beings. Real savage. And I said, I'm not going to be that kind of fight. I'm going to dance and be pretty. I'm just going to win on points. And if I hurt my man, I'm going to let him go. I'm not going to kill him just because somebody's watching. Fight. Now look it up.
Rico, are we savages?
Some people are. You know, I can't speak for everybody on that, you know what I'm saying? But I can say I have seen people with savage behavior. And I ain't gonna put that just on one race. Some people might expect me to do that. I know good will somebody will, here goes Rico. He's gonna start talking about white people again. No, man. I mean, I done seen some of every color, every size. You get what I'm saying? And I mean, and it's the thing is when it's, you know, when you see that there are savages, me, once again, I like to find out what created those people, what made them savages, what conditions did they come up in to make them feel that it was acceptable to be that way. You know, we could talk about if they're savages all day and what they do, you know what I'm saying, but it sort of reminds me of what some people call great Joe Biden said in the 90s about the super predators and the thugs. I don't care about the conditions that created them. I just want them locked up off the street. But then you're going to have a repeat problem. You're going to still keep on creating them. They're going to keep on being produced. And maybe, I guess, if you invested in prison, it would be very profitable for you to exploit that and just keep locking them up. instead of solving that problem so you don't have to lock them up and you don't have to make prison and you don't have to worry about your mama being hurt by super predators. But I don't want to talk about the conditions that created them. See, if you don't talk about it, then you can't find out what the conditions are. Then you can't go fix them. And some people don't like talking about the past. They'll leave the past in the past. But see, you still got to discuss that to understand what we got to now. It's a trickle effect. We talk about leaving legacies and lineage. Right now, that plays a part in what we are today, our lineage, our legacy, our culture, what was passed down to us. And if somehow we are out of order right now, we have to go back and find out what made us savages in the past. What created the conditions that made a person a savage, whether he was a Viking, whether he was an Aboriginal, whether he was a tribesman, whatever it was, a Caucasian, a European, conqueror, colonizer, whatever you want to call them. You still have to find out what in the nature of that human being that's born on this planet Earth makes them feel like it's cool to be that way towards another human being that was born on this planet called Earth that we need to preserve and try our best to survive.
Good deal. Cassandra, what do you say to that, Cassandra? Are we savages? Are we savages to the point where we'll sit there like Martin Luther King, Lord, like Malcolm, I can't even get the name right. Lord Jesus, I get it right in a minute. Like Muhammad Ali said, man, like Muhammad Ali was saying, I'm calling the man all kind of names. Like Muhammad Ali said, man, we'll sit there and we'll cheer my guy against your guy, and they beating each other up in the ring. They ain't mad at each other. It's a sport, or it's like a gladiators or something like that. It's a sport, and you go head up and you beat each other down, and you knock them down, you knock them out, and they bleed, and everybody's sharing with their little beer in their hand, and they having a good time. My guy beat your guy. Cassandra, are we savages in doing stuff like that?
You know, I was a huge boxing fan. I mean, huge when I was younger. And then, I mean, one day I can't remember who it was fighting, but it was a heavyweight fight. And I mean, this person pummeled the other person. I mean, they knocked him down a couple of times, and the person was staggering. And I watched the person staggering and the blood coming from the head because they had a cut over the eye. And, you know, I was like, what in the heck are you watching? What are you doing? And I had a come to Jesus moment. I really did. And I have not watched boxing. I stopped watching football pretty much. Every now and then I might glance at it, but all of the contact sports where people were being, you know, like really hitting, it did something to me. And now I'm hypersensitive to seeing people hurt, even if it's a sport. So I think we are a lot of times, because we do get such pleasure from seeing people, even though it's a sport, seeing people being hurt. Does that make sense?
No.
I don't know. Yeah, no. I don't know.
Paul, what do you say to that, Paul? Are we savages, man? We'll sit there, and MMA actually has taken it to a whole different level. And the truth of the matter, I like MMA. I look at it. But are we feeding a savage in us by looking at things like this? When, you know, these people get arms and legs broken and beaten down and bleeding all over the place, man. And we sit down and we watch it and we cheer. So are we being savages?
This is a really good question, and it's interesting that Ali said that, because he would know.
We go full screen.
I have a background in martial arts, Muay Thai, kickboxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've done some wrestling and all this stuff, and I had a lot of injuries along the way, and so I've seen it, and it's sort of innate in us. We like violence because it's cathartic. It makes us feel good on some level. You can sort of, you know, I like to think. I think Islam talks about this idea that life is sort of like war, right? And I think other religions mention that too. And it's true. Life is sort of like a big battle. And I think we look at these types of sports and go, okay, this is like a metaphor for my life. And, you know, you have strategies, and there's the thinking component to it, and there's the conditioning, and there's some good things from sports, right? You can build teamwork and self-confidence, and
all this stuff. But like Cassandra said, I have a hard time watching it now because I know there's victims from it. People have, I think it does a lot of damage. So I think innately human beings are violent. We all are. It's not a race thing. This is absolutely not a race thing. Every race, if you want to use the word race, is violent. But like with the cockfighting example that Ali was talking about, those animals don't have any choice in the matter. That's the most barbaric part right there to me. Or you put like dogs to fight or something like that. They don't want to fight, or human beings. Like you take a human being who comes from poverty and he has no other option but to fight to survive. That's hard. That's hard for me to get behind. So, I mean, I guess it's okay if you can put it in the proper context and just go, okay, this is a sport. There's a risk here. These people are make a lot of money, but it's really hard for me to get behind.
That's good, man. I think to a certain extent, success equals survival, and survival sort of equals reward to a certain extent. And so it sort of gets blurred a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Just the spirit of victory, you know what I'm saying? And being associated with survival, it gets to a point to where if you're not careful, surviving and winning will be too important, so it can become dangerous because there are all ways to actually look at it as sport or competition or fun, and make it safe. But when it becomes dangerous and people like the danger and the blood of it, then you start seeing the savage side of it. Like I'm a UFC fan. I love boxing, but I love UFC. I've been watching UFC from the very beginning. But I realized that I was sort of intrigued more by how violent it could be before they had the rules, because it was pretty violent, but at the same time it was boring. It wasn't nowhere near as good as what it is now. So what happened is as they started cleaning up the sport and making it less savage, it got more interesting. It got more scientific. It got more acceptable. It got more fun compared to what it was in the past. But every now and then you could see that extreme thing every now and then. And I think maybe the savage side of us that each one of us do have is the curiosity of seeing things sometimes that, we can see things that sort of terrorize us or traumatize us. But if you're not careful, you might want to see it again because you can't believe your eyes. You can't believe you just saw somebody die right in your face. But if you ain't careful, you might have to go back and look at it again, no matter how traumatizing it is. Oh man, I can't believe I just seen that man get his head blown off. But think about how many times the George Floyd video got replayed over and over again. How many times the World Trade Centers, the planes in it got played over and over again, that violence and that savagery. So I think we have become aggressive and we have become sort of addicted to the adrenaline and the feeling and it. I don't even want to call it excitement, but the intrigue of things that's really against the grain that maybe shouldn't happen or doesn't happen on a normal basis. Somehow we love to see the extraordinary. In the extraordinary things, some things happen to be savage. I think that's what promotes that savage or that super predator culture. So, man, this is a good question that you asked, man, because to a certain extent, we are somewhat, I don't want to call us savages, but we are competitive and we do like to win.
Exactly. Captain, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, yeah, brother. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Captain, we're talking about Muhammad Ali. He had a speech where he was in an interview and he was saying how he go into boxing and he watch boxing and see how people be beating each other up and doing these different things and how violent it is. And he said he don't want to do it. He want to go in the ring. He want to dance around and be pretty and win by points. And if somebody would have fall, he let him off the hook or something like that. I say that I played the clip. I don't know if you actually heard it, but Are we as the human culture, are we savages? Do we love stuff like that? Are we does that turn us on to see somebody get beat down, like maybe in the gladiator days or MMA now? We can see somebody get arms or legs broken and stuff like that, and we'll sit there, we'll watch and we'll cheer. Are we savages?
Well, I can say we have savage behavior.
Yes.
We have, but there's no question, this is a culture of violence. All our lives when we look at, programs in movies, on television, I mean, it's a violent, even a cartoon was violent. I grew up with the cartoons was violent, man. If they wasn't fighting and shooting each other, man, I mean, so it definitely leads to that. But however, I looked at, I don't know if everybody's seen it, it's the top viral today, is that a big fight, a big brawl broke out in Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
This was on yesterday, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was us.
Mm-hmm.
One family against another family, all was because one of the girls got out the line. You in them long lines to get on the rides. And she just got up the line. She was in the head with her family to go get her phone. She tried to go to everybody to get back to where she was, and the other family behind her blocked her. So, you can't get back.
Mm-hmm.
Said, "Ma'am, I want to get back." And the fight broke out.
Mm-hmm.
They brawling in Disneyland.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, so everybody that comment like savage, man. We embarrassed, man. Nobody never did that.
Mm-hmm.
So violence begets violence. If all you do is spend most of your time on TikTok and you're looking at these violent videos, all you hear is the woman got one show where the lady said, "Son, these people want to fight me," and it's a challenge. They're gonna see who's gonna come to help fight. So it is a culture. So we have shown a very savage behavior, and that's what they kept saying about that brawl in Disneyland. Savages. Mm-hmm. And if you keep promoting that kind of behavior through media, through social media, through television, people are going to take on that behavior. They like violence.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie, I like the MMA. I like when I'm getting in the ring and that bare knuckle.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch the brother, I forgot his name, Kimbo Slice.
Yes.
And then, that was violent. That was
Mm-hmm.
in the backyard. And when he hit you, that's real blood, real hit. Kimbo Slice, I had to lean towards that. So I can't knock it. It just was real fights. And I just enjoyed the real fights, man.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Badger, what do you say to that? And are we savages?
I think there are some that are. I'm more of a martial arts person.
Mm-hmm.
I like the art and the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of MMA. I'm not a big fan of just normal boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I have looked at some of it, and I've always cringed when I see what they do to each other.
And I'm just thinking about this. Even hockey, man. Hockey has some brutal fights in hockey, man.
I'm not a fan of hockey.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just throwing it out there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I like discipline type things. When there are a lot of people that talk about those kinds of sports and stuff, and I might watch or research it a little bit to get an understanding, but it's not my flavor. But I know a lot of people they go nuts over that stuff. Just watching someone, hey, did you hear this person broke a leg and da 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 da? And I'm like, why are you happy about someone getting hurt?
Mm-hmm.
That just pretty out there for me.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I have my savage moments of, if someone's a human being that hurts other people for fun, and I'm not talking about like fighting wise, but just like someone like Trump. Now, if he fell and got hurt, I'd laugh. I'd probably say he deserved it. So it's just, I guess in that way, I could be considered a savage.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are all capable of it. It just depends on how much how much the individual lets it influence their everyday life.
Mm-hmm. Tucson, what do you say to that, Tucson? Are we savages, brother? Do we have savage behavior? Do we like, or no, not necessarily we're savages, but do we like watching that kind of thing? Does that ignite us in some kind of way?
Yeah, I don't know if you can call it savage. I think that whatever excites us, get our adrenaline to be, you know, get ourselves motivated and pumped up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, savage part of it is that we make sure that it's on video.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me, and we watch it over and over and over and over again. Muhammad was talking about what we would do. We take innocent animals and we train them to kill each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we make bets on, you know, the two roosters ain't mad at each other. I mean, you know, the dogs, if they're not competing to breed, they won't bother each other.
Mm-hmm.
But it's us that take a little puppy and we train them,
mm-hmm.
do all kinds of things to watch them bleed. Some of them we watch them bleed to death. We get into fights and we see the man is down and say elbow him. And we see George, what is it, Jones? This is bad.
John Jones.
And the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If he put them elbows on you, you done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, oh my God, but you know what I do? Watch it again.
Yeah.
Press replay.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to see it again. Bust his eye wide open.
Mm.
Even ladies, you know, we look at ladies and I say to myself, I wouldn't take that woman home, but I rewind it and I watch her looking a hot mess. I'm just saying my phone's ringing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good deal. VP, talk to me, brother. What do you think about this theme, man? Do we and I'm gonna get away from the savage theme, but do we just love watching stuff like this? Is it something in us that draws us to this kind of thing? VP, I'm about to say it to you. Wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep. Leonard, talk to me, brother.
Interesting, really a deep conversation about something. When I refer to things, you know, on the show, as I'm not into the romance of things,
mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I attribute this to. And when I say that, if you're a fan of literature and all, that's where that comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Man versus man versus himself, man versus his environment. So I'm into themes, protagonist, antagonist, you name it. There is all, the Bible itself is based on this theme of war,
mm-hmm.
war within, war without. There's a fight every single day you open your eyes. You have to fight against that which is in you that would destroy you. Unlike, I think Rico believes that people are acting this way because of something else.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's choice, because I choose every day not to behave a certain way, regardless of where I come from, regardless of what's going on, regardless of who may be trying to motivate me to do certain things.
Hey, let me stop your time for a second. Do you think that could be not necessarily choice, but that you have a certain discipline about yourself that a lot of people just don't have? Because some people just don't have, some people just don't have the discipline to do quote unquote the right thing.
That's true. That's true. But God says you have a choice. I'm not going to go against what God says.
Mm-hmm.
The scriptures teach you this. You will come against that which is in you to do what is wrong and to sin. I believe in sin. So sin always presents me with an opportunity to do that, to participate. I choose whether or not I'm going to participate in it. I love Muhammad Ali, but it's a very hypocritical statement. That's what you do for a living. No matter how pretty you look doing it. You're fighting for the bag.
But see, the thing about one of the things that I took from what he was saying is he's not gonna do it in the savage way that everybody else do it. He's gonna get up there, he's gonna dance around, he's gonna look pretty and just score points. And he also said that if he saw one of his people somebody that got hurt, he's gonna pull back. He's not gonna go out there and just try to knock him out and he ain't gonna try to Mike Tyson them, because Tyson gonna try to put you on your back at any cost. That's what he's gonna do. He said he's not gonna do it in that way.
It's just boxing. It's boxing. I don't know nobody that, he's like you say, he ain't gonna kill nobody. But it's still boxing. It's still causing someone else pain. And it's for sport.
Okay.
So we have to, and a lot of people, when you say things, you should test those things. If you really believe something, you should really believe it. And it'll shape your behavior. And discipline is everything. And these are basic teachings in most religions.
Okay. Hold on.
A fight for what's right
hop in next?
is considered a just fight.
Exactly. Let me go to hold on, Badge. I gotta come back to you, man. We just touched you 2 people ago. I want to pull everybody else in. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, from your background, counseling background, I'm speaking, and I'm hearing what Leonard said, but I'm speaking from this vantage point right here. Discipline. Can it be an issue with discipline? Why a person can't do that quote unquote right thing?
Oh, absolutely. Because I didn't. I was undisciplined for many years, and I still sometimes have problems with being disciplined in the things that I do. So, it can be something as simple as saying, okay, I know I want to lose some weight. I'm going to stop eating after 7 o'clock at night. That's a discipline, and that's hard for some people to do. You know what I'm saying? So when you know that something is good for you, or you need to do that thing, it's a scripture that actually goes with that. I believe it was Paul. He said that when I would do good, evil was in my presence.
Yes.
For that thing that I would not do, I find myself doing. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the part of discipline. That's discipline right there. So I think all of us have an element of that in us, that sometimes the very thing that we know that we need to do to better ourselves, we know we need to do it, but we're not disciplined enough to put the work in to make it happen.
Exactly. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Badger, coming to you next.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where was it I made the point that people would think that I don't think it's a choice. I don't know what I said that would. I didn't get none of that. When Linda made that reply about I may have thought it wasn't a choice or something like that. I don't know what it was. You have a choice, and when you are trained, you are trained to somewhat have discipline, but now you have to be trained by the right person. I'm glad you changed that from savages, but we do have a propensity to like violence.
Yes,
we do have a propensity to like, I'm gonna say extreme things sometimes, things that are not normal. Listen, who wouldn't want to see a UFO? Look, some people like watching bombs drop. Some people like war. They just start war because they want to create an axis of evil. But at the same time, you still have to be able to discern between competition and just complete savagery of violence. I love boxing and I love MMA, but there are those times when you see somebody that gets killed in that sport, and then you question yourself, man, is this worth it for my entertainment? Is Is this worth it for my viewing pleasure to watch these two people compete? See, we do like to see the winner. I love to see two boxers fight to the end and ain't nobody knocked out. I just want to see who outboxed each other. You know, but the consequences and the risk behind that is that somebody might die. I think it was like 3 years ago, man. I know, and man, I don't know if this is just the way the universe works, man, because sometimes you could go years and years and years and not have a boxing death. And then like maybe 3 years ago, man, I think there was like 5 deaths in boxing. Last time I had seen a death in boxing was from Dooku Kim and Boom Boom Mancini.
Yeah.
And that was my first wake-up call. I never heard of that happening, of somebody dying in the boxing ring and being, but when I saw that fight too, Boom Boom Mancini and Dooku Kim. I was very young, and I knew then, I was like, man, wait a minute, this sort of brutal. That man don't want to go down. He was trained to not go down. He was out on his feet. And so, man, you know, I saw that, man, and this sort of made me second guess everything that was going on. I mean, you know, we all love Mike Tyson going and not knocking people out in 90 seconds or within 2 or 3 rounds. We couldn't wait. Oh yeah, we was a little mad that we wasn't getting our full money worth for 12 rounds on that pay-per-view. But at the same time, if he didn't get them out of there fast and it wasn't spectacular, we didn't want to see it.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, that's just man, that, you know, that when it comes to competition or when it comes to anything that we enjoy, you know what I'm saying, the risk that's involved or the things that may happen that you can't predict, that's even more exciting. We can't predict if somebody gonna get knocked out or not. We can't even predict if they're gonna die. But the reality of our human value really steps in, and then you start realizing that some things are worth more than entertainment. So now, see, y'all really want to find out where I stand with this. These type of conversations are a reality check, because now we're talking about the things that we like and that we indulge in and that we are entertained by. But then when you look at the bigger picture, we saw Muhammad Ali after all them years of boxing. How entertaining was that to see him go downhill like that? So that really goes to show you us. That shows you where we are as human beings. Still accept and condone a lot of things, contribute to and embrace and enable a lot of things that really are detrimental to the existence of quality of life.
And one of the things about what you're saying about Dr. Kim, man, how he got killed in the ring. Boom Boom Mancini beat that man to death, and he beat him to death. But after that happened, when it happened, that affected Boom Boom. It really affected Boom Boom a lot as well, because you know you got them two combatants in the ring, and they who gonna man up? Who gonna man up? Who gonna win? Who got the most machismo and gonna take this fight? And he had more to the fact that he killed the man, and he couldn't live with it. Think
about the corner man that didn't throw the towel in.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of
the referee that didn't stop the fight.
There's
you
a lot of things.
Man, that's I mean, you know, I've seen boxers look at the ref like, man, you ain't gonna stop. I'm gonna kill this man.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the ref finally step in. So I mean, you know, man, that's some integrity and discipline in it too. But if you're not careful, that's how dangerous aggression can be. Like me, I don't wrestle. When I grew up, you know how boys like to wrestle and play tough.
Yeah.
When we was young, I didn't do that because I wanted to win so much and I refused to lose so much that when you got the best of me and we was wrestling, we was fixing to fight. Yeah. And then you were gonna say, you know what? Rico don't know how to play right. He don't know how to control himself, but I can't play with aggression. The only way I know how to deal with aggression is with force.
Exactly. Hold on. Let me go to I say I'm gonna go to Badger. Got another caller just called in. Got a couple other people I want to touch. Badger, what's on your heart?
I was thinking about the violence thing, and I sent you a post yesterday that totally threw me off. Texas is now going to train teachers so they can carry guns in schools. They're actually going to do it, and they are doing it. They are doing it. And I was thinking about our topic, you know, savages and violence and all that stuff, and I'm like, what is that going to teach kids? What's that like? how is that truly solving anything as far as like the type of violent nature that's in our society? Like what's the likelihood of one of the students finding the guns because it gets put down or something, and is it gonna my brain, I guess, has kind of just been on it since I found out about it, because I've got so many, is it going to increase the shootings in school because of accidental whatever? Is the teacher accidentally doing it or someone grabbing it or what? And man, I don't, but this topic that we're on today has just got me thinking about it more of, why are we having to go to that extreme?
Wow. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to have your input. Talking about right now, are we really driven? Do we really love violence? Do we love violence? Just that much? Is it a driving force? We go watch the boxing, the wrestling, the MMA, and all the other sports of that nature. Why?
Oh, 4-year-old kid, by the way.
That shooting at the police.
Shooting at the police.
Yeah. Exactly. Want to get his daddy off.
Where did that thought process come from, though? How could a 4-year-old child think, hey, if I shoot the cop, my dad can go free and do what he wants?
Wow. It's a lot tied into this thing, man. We got another caller from the 601 area code. 601 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
It's Navy, y'all. I finally got through.
Navy, how you doing, young lady?
Oh my God, struggling this morning. How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. We asking the question about violence. Do we, as human beings, do we love violence that much? We look at the boxing, the MMAs, the football, and all the wrestlings and all the different things that entails violence, hockey or whatever it is. Do we just love violence that much? Are we turned on by violence and people getting hurt?
That's a good question. I don't know if we necessarily love it, more so than we have been programmed to accept it. And I think that just goes back to I don't know, like the beginning of time. If you could fight to defend your land, defend your family, or whatever, that equated to some sense of power. So I think that we have been so programmed in order to show my dominance, that there has to be some violence. I mean, you look at the reason why wars start. You look at and it's entertainment as well. I mean, when you look at the boxing, you look at the hockey, it's just like, ooh, that's who. The more aggressive that you are, the better of a player that you are, the more marketable that you are, because everybody wants to be the toughest guy or the toughest girl that's in the ring or on the ice or whatever. So I think we've just been programmed to accept it as entertainment and as a way to demonstrate dominance and power.
Exactly. Yeah. Captain, talk to me.
Well, I don't know. Ask me a question. I'm a little lost on the violence. I thought we'd exhausted. Is anything else you want to talk about?
Well, yeah. My thing is, why do you think? What is it about our nature that makes us so attracted to another person getting hurt, or watch even a car accident? You see an accident on the road. The traffic can be backed up for miles, not because of the accident, but because of the rubberneckers that's sitting there wanting to watch and seeing what happened, anybody get hurt, and different things of that nature. We're drawn. So it's something about this that draws us into those type things. And I'm asking the question, why?
Well, let me say this: our origin, our beginning, our journey into the womb is violent. We didn't just come out of the womb just because, over 500 to 1 million to 1 billion sperms is emitted. into a hostile environment of the womb of the woman. It's hostile. There's a battle that takes place. It's very violent. The woman's womb sets out alkaline to get what they may see a foreign invasion. So there's a fight takes place. And in that fight, there's a struggle, and the sperm is trying to get to the egg. So the very origin is violent, is fighting to survive. So if that's the nature by which God brought us all out, and then out of all of those, only one made it. One made it. So we looking at the beginning of life. Everything comes out of a hostile environment. And we struggle to survive, and we struggle to exist.
Take it, Rico.
And then out of that hostile struggle and violence, we create maybe an environment of violence, not a environment of chaos. We come out of chaos. But everything, even the very universe itself, life itself, it was chaos. It says God first created the earth, but it was a chaos, and then he put it in order. So the first law was motion, and the second law was order. So it was out of order. So we have that nature. So I think what you're saying is we have the nature to lean toward the propensity of violence. And that's just the way it is. I think man has to create in himself peace and non-violence. But everybody likes a good fight. I mean, we all had to fight growing up. I don't know nobody is. Probably Leonard probably was the only guy that never was in a fight in his life. I mean,
stop it, Captain Dennis. Stop it.
I don't know Leonard was ain't never been in no fight. I'm sure some of us didn't want to fight, and some of us were looking for a fight. I'm sure they ran Leonard home many times, but nevertheless. But I think it's the nature of a society. As I told you, man, we grew up on cartoons. Think about every cartoon we looked at. It was violent. And so you got this in your mind. You hitting him. I mean, Bugs Bunny had to shoot. I mean, everything. So I think, Brother Raheem, it seems to be the nature, not the strong nature, but it seems to be the dominant nature right now until we got God into our life. And with God coming into our life, we rid ourselves from that kind of violent nature. And like I heard many of them say, you have to discipline yourself. But I like a good fight. I mean, I watch boxing. I love it. It is a brutal sport. Now, don't get me wrong. But as I heard a man said that if he sees somebody lose weight, he turned it back and replayed it. And I think that's all of us. That's reality to us. Reality is that we don't want to see what's real, but we really want to see what's real. And then until we see in blood in the gut, I don't know what it is. War. So I think it's something that's in the beginning of our origin. I don't think it's unnatural. I think it has to be something that we discipline ourselves toward until we create the opposite of it, which is peace. I'm sorry I'm a little long with that. I hope I answered your question.
You good. I agree, Captain Dennis. I saw
throwing digs and Leonard. If I ain't getting nothing else out, I love throwing digs and Leonard.
I agree, Captain Dennis. I sort of said earlier. I said earlier that it was about survival. I think it was sort of natural. I always go back to the first human beings that didn't have any civilization, and they had to find a way to make it. And they probably saw animals, the animals that were here, doing what they needed to do to survive. Because see, the thing is that the first human beings here had to make a way to survive and provide for their children. Even when they learned how to have sex, they probably learned that from the animals that existed first before us. So, in that process, you start seeing how animals ate. They had to kill to eat. They had to kill to survive. And so I think before civilization and community came around, we had to learn to even survive. And in the process of surviving, that was victory. That was success. So now we have naturally associated aggression and violence with having to succeed and win sometimes, to survive sometimes. That's why it's a second nature to us. to actually fight for what we believe in, or to try to win or stand for what we want to accomplish. So I agree with what Captain Dennis said, and I was gonna go to Cassandra next, but you came on in.
Good. Actually, I'm gonna go to Paul. Paul, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of people said. I think it's our nature. It's in our DNA. And there's like we know a lot more about genetics now, and we know that your environment and your your life experiences can have a big impact on your behavior, and not through just behavioral like learning theory, but also through genetics. Like if you have a very traumatic life, often that can turn genes on genes can be turned off and on. It's called epigenetics, and your life experiences and things like that can do that. So I think, for me, just like from a teacher perspective, I think about like how schools have they have a zero tolerance for, they say no roughhousing. When I was in elementary school, we used to play tackle football and we used to wrestle and stuff like that. And like nowadays, that would be like you'd have a teacher or an aide out there like, okay, send these kids to the principal's office, and this is unacceptable. We don't allow violence. So in my mind, it's like, I think, we have to accept that it's part of our nature. It's part of human nature. And I had an idea. I don't know what people think of my idea, but like, what about a school where there's a class for boys and girls, whoever, and they get to learn about like violence. They get to maybe practice some self-defense skills and like maybe hit bags and stuff like that. But you also learn the philosophy of violence, and you learn the real consequences of violence, and you learn it's no joke. I think a lot of people just think it's fantasy, and then they never actually look at the consequences of violence.
Wow. Cassandra?
Yeah, I sort of almost like that idea. Because it could be a deterrent, especially for bullies. Because we have a huge problem with bullying in our school system. I mean, it is horrible. And you've had an increase of kids taking their lives because of being bullied. So maybe a class that would teach them about, violence and what happens as a result of violence. And I mean, show them the most graphic of pictures. I'm talking, I'll show them dead people, bloodied up, cut open, neck slit. I mean, just to show them that it's not, this is not a joke. People's lives can be changed forever because of that. People are in wheelchairs because of violence, bullying, or whatever. So I don't know, a reality check might be what it takes, because the kids nowadays are so desensitized because of all they see with the thing. But I'm talking using real people, photos. I think that might shake some of the kids.
Okay. Navy, what do you think about that concept?
I could honestly see the logic in it, but on the backside of that, I will also say to be prepared to like have some type of mental health aspect side to it, because I mean, it has to be catered as long as it's like age appropriate and all of that, because I mean, like what may work for one kid may not necessarily work for the next kid, and what is like looking at the different backgrounds of the children. I mean, like violence may be something that one kid sees every day, whereas if we were to use that concept across the board, and I know it's just an idea, but if we were to use that concept across the board, how that could be detrimental to the next kid that hasn't been exposed to that or not been as exposed. So I think the idea could work as long as there are some what is the word that I'm looking for? Like desensitizing, I guess, on the back end of that to really bring it home, and to help these bodies, these little bodies that already are very sensitive to the energies and the world around them, help them calm it down, because if not, then that'll just put us even more into survival mode, which is what happens to the body anyway when it's been introduced to long periods of stress and anxiety. We naturally go into survival mode. Well, fight or flight mode is what they would call it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Okay. And that's good, because you have to really be able to gauge. And it's I actually I think it'll be very difficult even to gauge which child you would expose to that visuals, because it could stick in their mind for a long time. And
I wonder if they see enough visuals. The reason why they're desensitized, between all the music and then the video games and what you see on TV and clips, on the internet, video cameras recording police killing people and shooting them. I mean, you see I wonder if they are seeing too many visuals and they're not getting enough firsthand experience. Like I was agreeing with what she was saying, what Cassandra was saying at first.
What do you mean when you say firsthand experience?
Maybe it would be better for them to be at the funeral homes. At the because see, you can see a picture of it, but you just move that picture to the side. But when you actually in the room while this autopsy is being performed, now that's a totally different story. So now I think if people actually had to work in the industry or actually see firsthand, deal with the families, then that might have a impact. But I think the visual pictures, I think they see, depending on their households. I put it the way, I remember when I was young, man, we had to dissect frogs in biology. If you weren't careful, some people took memorabilia home. Some of these people might come from the same household that people that used to take body parts at lynch mobs. You remember they used to have them picnics where they were lynching people and they burn black people and take souvenirs home, penises and fingertips and stuff like that. Look at this memory of this nigga we killed. That's human nature. So I think this has sort of been done before, and it would be proven that these photos would probably be glorified by some people. And even if you did take them firsthand and make them deal with it at the funeral home or at the hospital, in the trauma centers, some of them probably still would have some type of sick compulsion to crave that. But for the most part, I think it would have a better impact if they had to deal with it firsthand and then deal with the families, or if they had to deal with it from somebody in their family going through that.
I'm gonna tell you something. And I understand what you're saying. And like I said, I don't give everybody, nobody. I don't say everybody. I don't give nobody opinion. Everybody have their own. But my thing is, for me, I couldn't know what I want to be. See an autopsy. I don't know. I don't want to see that. I don't. I mean, and I'm a grown man of a certain age, but I don't want to see that. Willow, good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Raheem, good morning to you. Good morning, Morning Glow.
Good morning, sister. Good morning. We're talking about, do we have a desire or draw to violence? Is there something in us that draws us towards violence? And if so, what is it?
Oh, for sure it is, Raheem. It is. I always throw out there, I like to read Ephesians 6, and it tells us that, we in a spiritual world that fights, that we don't wrestle against each other, but it's the power that we don't see that's wrestling against us. I always used to wonder before I got up into my age where I am now, 64. I always used to wonder. I got a sister, and my sister was something else. Every job she got, she lost back because she was fighting. When she was in school, she got suspended. And we living in the same household, being raised by the same parents. But this sister here seemed like she always had an attitude for some reason or another. And she was always fighting. If you looked at her like you didn't like her, she would want to fight you. And so I said that because me and her, I used to try to run with her because she was tough. And me and her came in the house late one day. And my father, he was waiting at the door for us. And, I was a crybaby. I started crying before he even hit me.
We go.
I started crying. And when I started crying, she said, girl, go. I'll take your whooping. I say, okay. And my sister, I'm telling you, Raheem, she stood up there and my daddy told her behind up. And she said to him, are you finished? He told her, girl, get out of here. You crazy. And I'm telling you, that's how tough my sister was. But she grew up wanting to fight all the time. I don't know why. And until this day, you know, she's kind of calmed down some. She's 63, you know, and she even graduated ahead of her class, but she just had this violent streak about her. And I just want to share that with you guys.
That's awesome, man. You know, some people just have that mean, tough streak in them like that, man. It's hard to do. You know, everybody's individual. We all are unique, but it's odd to see those type of people that just have it in them or just want to fight. They just got what we call, they got hell in them. I will put myself in the corner. I'll let Raheem know when he come back. But I don't know if VP is on. The VP is on. Can you come in? I know he was trying to get the VP a little earlier. If VP is on, you come in, and if not, we try Dawn, because Dawn like been on in a second.
Well, I know I wanted to add something to what you were saying earlier.
No, go ahead, and then we'll get Donald after you.
About the sensitizing.
Go ahead.
As I was looking at the scenario, or listening to the scenario that you were giving, right? I was sitting here and I was thinking, I'm like, well, wait. If that happens, wouldn't it make it a lot easier to catch or to become aware of the kids that have that kind of mentality at a younger age to actually not be able to help them before they get too bad on the streets? Like, could it be used as a way to figure out if a child has a type of concern that we would need to be aware of?
I believe so. I believe that is something that you could use to observe that, and then also recognize if they are influencing the other children to start glorifying it over being frightened of it, because peer pressure has a lot to do with that, and culture has a lot to do with that. I don't think we initially see violent things like people being shot and receive it like it's entertainment. You know, I think that's a gradual adjustment that we make. You know, I mean, going back to, like I was saying about the first human beings trying to survive, I think it may have been sort of frightening and brutal to see how animals killed each other, but then after a while they had to learn that was the way that they had to survive. And, you know, I think that's, you know, when Captain Dennis was saying that about our natural state, we had to be a little violent to survive. Well, we wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of things wouldn't exist right now. A lot of animals wouldn't exist right now if they didn't perform in that predator and prey type of atmosphere. And there's a lot of violence in that predator and prey atmosphere.
Absolutely,
So, you know,
absolutely.
I was going to Dawn on this. How you do what you want to do.
No.
VP went in.
See, you right along with me, because that's where I was going. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
I remember when we moved out of the country into the little town that we grew up in. My two older brothers would every day make me and my brother that's right over me, anybody that passed by the house, we had to go into the street and just start fighting. Win, lose, or draw. Because we were the new kids on the block. They might have thought that was fun. Or I don't know what kind of statement. Well, I knew it was. We had to let them know that we was in the neighborhood. And kids, young, I think I was in the second, third grade. But every day, and they would tell my mom, Miss Tucson, you know, my little boy, all you trying to do is just go to the store, but them boys are yours. They every time they gotta fight to get to the store, and on the way back from the store they gotta fight again. Now sometimes, and the reason why I say that is sometimes we were terrible. My brother, the one that's right over me, he was a fighter. Matter of fact, he's gonna figure out a way to win. And if he would thought he lost, then you really got problems. Because he was going to get something. And he was going to try to beat you half to death with something. Now, was he a terrible, mean, and nasty person that was going to sooner or later be a type of a kid that would grow up to be a terrorist or something like that? No, time and the right people, I guess, was the influence on his life. So what I'm saying is sometimes you have to kind of observe their activity and curve them along the way. But I'm pretty sure that that's what happened, because now he's same kind of person. You don't want to steal them across him. But I think he changed a lot.
Yeah,
that's about all I'm gonna say about that.
Good deal, good deal. Let's go to where we're gonna go now. Let's go to Cassandra. Let's go back to Cassandra. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Nothing, because y'all trying to make me think about how horrible I was as a kid. I can't. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want those memories. No, but no, really, I was horrible. Somebody said I was horrible. But I was damaged. I was severely damaged. That's why I had such an attitude, and I would fight you, just like Willa said. Her sister, I'm her sister. Because if you look at me crazy, I would jump on you. I don't care how big you were. So, but that was because of all of the abuse that I experienced. Everybody's different. We react to abuse differently. I was abused and I became aggressive, extremely aggressive with people. And I didn't take no crap off of anybody. I don't care who you were. So that's a horrible thing. But that was my reality at the time.
Wow. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I want to go back to Captain Dennis. Man, I love Captain Dennis, not just because of some of the funny things he says, because I know what he's about. And I love, the brothers from the nation. And he painted a perfect picture of the fight in the womb. I mean, this is a savage place. This is how we come here. And, I want to challenge people's religion and what they think they know about the Bible and these types of things. And when you think about, because I believe in an intelligent design. So one, no, we were never savages. We were not created as savages. And we have to understand, like, you think about God, if people ever think about God, what kind of being is God? And we get certain hints and certain clues. But the antelope ain't gonna go jump in the lion's mouth. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So one, when we're trying, some people will say, well, you shouldn't do this. You must defend yourself. You must fight to stay alive. And this is what God put in us so we can keep ourselves alive. Like you have certain people, I don't like, Captain Dennis made me laugh because it's the exact opposite. I've always been about justice, even as a little boy. My mother taught me this way. You don't put your hands on nobody. You let the authority know if somebody's bothering you. Then if that fails, take control of the situation. So I would count it down for other kids. That's one. Okay? Teacher, I'm telling you. That's my last warning. Next thing you know, they're pulling me off somebody. For the very simple fact, I gave you the opportunity to stop doing what you were doing. That's why it's hard for me to understand how people get into abusive situations. Because the moment you put your hands on me, I'm going to try to break your neck. So, and I want people to see me do it, to deter them from attacking me. So there is a just fight. We were never put here not to fight. But it's what we fight against that's the issue. What are you fighting against? That's what we have to think about. Are you starting fights for no reason? Are you coming from a wicked place? Or are you just defending yourself? That's the biggest difference in the world to me. I can't imagine people like, well, we shouldn't be fighting one another. Or what if another kid, see them little, I'm going to go race for a minute. You got the little white kids in school, you know, and they got this little thing, well, Billy has a problem. And I tell you what, I don't care what Billy got, problem he got. If Billy put his hands on me, I'm going to beat the hell out of Billy. And he can be retarded. He can be whatever he want to be. You better teach Billy not to put his hands on other people. You think he disabled. You let that man, that young boy understand that he can't put his hands on other people. Somebody gonna kill it. And all these excuses we make for people who go after people. That's why we call them predators. Because they're coming at you. And it's not for your benefit. It's for their benefit. And you must defend yourself against that.
Leonard, you know, that worked two ways, because you go back and think about what Cassandra just said and about her environment and what made her that way. You said something key. I posted that about it being a defense mechanism for some. Some people choosing violence right off the top as a preemptive strike. And you know, I think about what Willa said, and I think about what Cassandra said, and from my own experiences, I've seen people like that, and I know they were like that because they didn't want to be violated. They did it as a survival tactic, but nobody taught them how to not do it as defense, but to just do it as a way of life. So some people, they grew up in environments where they were beat up on and bullied, and they said, well, you know what? I'm going to be the first one to do it. Like what Donald said. Donald said they were new to the neighborhood. So they already made up their mind that they were going to strike first before somebody else struck them. And so that's where you have to start learning to discern between the predator and the prey, and then understanding the reason behind needing to be violent or aggression, because there is a definite need for aggression. There's a definite need for violence. You know, you spoke about the predator and the prey. You spoke about the antelope jumping in the lion's mouth, but without that antelope, that lion won't survive. So he has to be a predator. He has to be slightly violent. And then to be on top of once again, he might have to be violent again with the hyenas that want to come steal that antelope from him, because they travel in packs. So, you know, this necessity for violence for our survival is something that we always got to remember and understand that violence is going to be necessary. It is necessary because you're going to have bad people out there. And sometimes it ain't really that they're just bad, but they are your competition. Is Navy still on? If Navy ain't on, come on, Captain Dennis, come back, come with it.
Well, I'm so glad I ain't met none of y'all in y'all early days. Y'all gonna try to hide. I'm scared to death now. Lord, but I don't know what to say. I know that bad Negro still in y'all. Just ain't nobody push.
Come on now.
Push the face button now. You know, some of y'all so bad concrete would curl up when you walk. I understand that, but let me say this. You know, we forget, and Rico, you can really appreciate this, that the nature of coming out of puberty, coming into puberty, is that young men start getting what you call testosterone. Testosterone produces the aggressive behavior. And in that development, coming out of that, coming into manhood, it seems to produce that challenge. You're aggressive. So, you know, we put our children in sports to get that aggressive, whether it's boxing, whether it's wrestling, whether it's football, it's aggressiveness. Now, if you ain't got no parents to guide you or take that aggression and put it in positive sense, then that aggression becomes the corner fight. Now the aggression becomes the corner fight. Now you got your gang, I got my gang, but the aggressiveness is part of your nature. You're coming into your own, but without the proper guidance, then that aggressive becomes unvetted violence. One thing about Brother Leonard mentioned about nature is that, you know, the lion, he does what you call honorable kill. He first cut off the windpipe
of the one he gonna eat. He gives them a little piece. You know, he ain't like the hyena. The hyena eats you while you alive. But the lion, he let you, you know, he give you an honorable kill. And one thing about nature, it only takes what it needs. It don't kill for the sake of killing, like man. It don't kill for the sake of killing. I'm sure everything we eat wanted to live. You know, that chicken you ate the other day, brother, you know, it wanted to live. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the mother to drop the eggs, she wanted to see a little eggs hatch, but you wanted some eggs this morning. Everything in God's creation strives to exist. But to strive to exist means that you're fighting a hostile environment that's fighting to keep you from existing. And so the very nature of man, as the Quran says, is the struggle. God created man to struggle. But after difficulty comes ease. So I think we all say the same thing, but I just glad I just know y'all now, because I got a little peep into y'all's past. Lord have mercy. But thank God that, you know, he's not finished with none of us yet. We may not be where we should be, fellas, but thank God we ain't what we used to be. To God be the glory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Willow, what's on your heart, sis?
Hey, Raheem, I was just listening to how we, you know, as we grew up, we learned that being violent or doing violent things is not the right thing to do. Because, you know, like you said, some people said earlier, you want to treat people like you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we go through things all the time as human beings. We do. And sometimes we hold things within ourselves. It's like cancer. And then it comes out like a rushing flood. You know, you might be that last straw that somebody come up on because of everything that was going on in their life. That's why I said yesterday, people have to learn to filter. Because if we don't, it turns us into things or people that we don't want to be. And we display ourselves to look like monsters because we're always evil. Something is going on. That's because we don't understand what's going on in an individual. That's why it's so important to learn something about somebody's past and you can understand what's going on with them now. See, we're humans. That doesn't change. We're humans. And if we don't do the things that are necessary to keep us in a place where we need to be humble, then those things are going to come up on us. We're going to allow those spirits to get within us. And that's in my heart, Raheem.
Good deal. Rico, you want to ask her a question?
Yeah, it's funny, but I was going to come to you anyway, Willow, because based off the fact that I brought that up about survival and a defense mechanism, and you said that about your sister, I was wondering, were there things that she went through when she was younger, maybe as far as like being maybe the outcast or maybe not being as cute as the other sisters, or just, you know, some things that could have made her self-conscious that she went through that just made her feel like from this point forward, she going to make sure she going to set the tone. And she had that aggressive nature about her, because I know some women that were like that with their sisters. You know, as a matter of fact, I got an aunt that was like that. She just didn't fit in with the rest of the sisters. She wasn't as cute. She was a little rough around the edges. It was just something different about her. And over the years, you could tell that sort of made her the more aggressive and the more, I ain't gonna say the more violent, but the more aggressive of the aunties, of all the sisters. So I'm wondering, is there something that happened in your sister past that made her use that aggression or that violence as a defense mechanism and do preemptive strikes the way she did?
Rico, no, not this sister. I did have a sister that was handicapped. I know I shared with y'all one time. You know, she was handicapped, and you would think she would be the most violent one, but she wasn't. She was the one that was like, she was always like wanting people to feel sorry for her. But this sister here, a lot of my grandmothers used to say that she took after my grandfather. And my grandfather, a lot of my cousins say he was really mean. And a lot of them, because she looked just like him. So they always believed that his spirit was up on her. His spirit was up on her. So she wasn't abused. She was extremely smart. like I said, me and her graduated at the same time. And she was younger. She was up underneath me. She went to Austin High School. I went to Roosevelt. We graduated both in 1976. So, no, you know what? I am going to ask her. I'm going to ask her where she get that $1.3 million.
She and truth of the matter, she probably don't even know herself, because, like I said, it might have been something that was just given to her, handed down or whatever, that she had no control over. Badger, what's on your heart?
What?
Hold on. Somebody about to say something.
Go ahead.
Somebody was saying something just now. Okay, go ahead, Badger.
That's something that I was bringing up earlier. I was saying about what Public Citizen was saying about doing those kinds of classes and stuff, and I was sitting there going, would it actually help us to figure out who the problem kids are? Like the ones that really, really need help. And then hearing the stories and stuff, when I was in school, I was the one everyone picked on. But if I saw someone else get bullied, I turned into somebody else. Well, I wouldn't say somebody else. I tapped into what I know is inside of me. And most of the time, instead of bullying the people they were bullying, they would just start ganging up on me. And back then, my self-worth issues, I had no issue with it. In my head, as long as they were messing with me and not anybody else, then I did the right thing.
Wow. So, Cassandra, through this last part of this conversation that we've had, in your assessment, are we violent? Are we drawn like a moth to a flame to violence?
We may be drawn to it. I don't know. I can't really talk for everybody. All I can say is for myself. What made me violent at the time, and what it took, the struggle it took. Even now, with all of the interactions that I have with people, and I deal with people on a daily basis. I'm an introvert, and people don't believe that. I'm an introverted extrovert. When I'm not actually doing things in the community, I am at my house by myself, isolated, because I still want to make sure that I keep me under control. And I don't like foolishness. I don't do foolishness. So to keep me safe and possibly somebody else safe, I stay to myself. With all that I do in the community, I'm an introvert. And people don't even realize that. They go like, girl, you are such a social butterfly. You always out there. You in front of everybody, boo, boo, boo. But my time is spent by myself. And it's a reason for that. So I can't speak for everybody else. I know that my battles, my spiritual battles are still real to me. And it takes God every day. Every day I'm on that journey to keep my flesh under subjection.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Toussaint, talk to me, brother.
Everybody has a path in life. And either you or somebody else has to look at the path. That's why I'm grateful for people that he put in my life to kind of curve and help direct. Some of them I wasn't listening to. That's why I'm like I am. I'm kind of crazy. But I guess you got to watch kids or young folks. If they have gone to the extreme of doing the little things, I say the little things, the things that we did, and some of them, they wind up being criminals. And there's no curving then. And another thing is, I thank God for his word. And when I say his word, I mean, there are some of us most of us on this panel, whether you read the Bible or the Quran, there's a spiritual guide on paper in a book that helps curve us to the point that we believe that it came from the Creator, a biblical or some kind of spiritual. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because we point at we say, well, thank God I'm a Christian. Well, some people are not Christians, but they have a spiritual guide that helps them to say, you know what? I can't do this. I need to do this. I need to change here. I need this fix. This is help. This helped me. This. But if it wasn't for that, then you know it kind of gives me a grace that if it wasn't for that, then I would be the terrorist or the drug user or the alcoholic or homemonger or this or that or the other thing. Thank God for those things that have been placed in our lives that helps us to not only realize where we've gone, then when we see somebody else, we can help them to say, hey, hold up now, young man, young woman, I think you need this, gonna help you here. Read this. Go listen to this. You know that I'm grateful for that. That's about all.
Good deal. Good deal. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
I'm thinking about when violence is necessary to establish peace and justice. Think about that. Because I said, earlier I said that peace is, violence is pretty much necessary for our survival. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for some type of violence. But see, you have to have necessary violence, necessary aggression. It has to be a reason or purpose behind it. Like I said, either you're trying to defend yourself or maybe you're just trying to survive. Maybe you just need to eat something. So you got to go kill a bird. You got to go kill a squirrel. You got to go shoot a turkey. So you can eat, fill your belly up, providing for your family. Or maybe you have to kill a lion or another person to protect your family. That's necessary violence, So so it's one thing to have it when it's needed, but then there's another thing you have to think about when it's extreme and unnecessary. See, I think that's where the problem comes in there. See, we can dismiss violence or make it seem like it's very bad and not understand why it was necessary in the first place, because there are other bad people that maybe they weren't trying to be as violent, but you had to be just as violent as they were to, survive, to get what you needed out the deal. So, I thought about that side of it, because when we think about violence, we think about how bad it is. But then when you think about sometimes how necessary it is, it's easy to understand why we can sort of embrace violence now. Because once we pick a fighter, that fighter we don't go for, we might not like them. And when you are going against or using violence to go against somebody that you don't like, that person that you're going for has to be the dominant one. They have to win. They have to succeed by any means necessary. Same thing as you. If you got to defend your children, you might have to become more violent. You might have to kill this man or these group of people that's trying to come in and take your family and hurt your family. And if you get to the point where you can find yourself comfortable with taking that life because it's a necessity, then sooner or later it might get lost in the concept of dysfunctional violence and necessary violence.
Good deal. Good deal. It's been a great conversation, y'all. It's been a great conversation, man. I really enjoyed it today, man. And violence is something that is among us. It's all around us. How do you recognize it? How do you stay away from it? How do you defend yourself from it? How do you protect yourself from the violence? Do you have to become violent yourself to protect yourself from the violence? Rico, what's going on at 3 o'clock today?
If you missed today's broadcast and would like to see or hear the rebroadcast in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmediagroup.com.
Now, today is Friday. Is she here, Rico?
Oh, man, she here. I've been heard her voice.
Is she here, though?
She's still here.
Did she leave? Did she leave?
No.
I just want to know, did she leave?
Raheem.
Walla!
Come on, Raheem.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Are you ready?
Raheem, I am so ready. Come on, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go before his throne.
Let's go.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you. Before we say thank you, Lord, we're going to ask that if there's been anything that we have said, thought, or done that has been displeasing to you in your eyesight, Father, we're asking for your forgiveness. Father, we're asking you for forgiveness for our sins, knowingly and unknowingly, Lord. So, Father, we just want to say thank you for allowing us to get up this morning to see another day. Father, thank you for allowing us to commune one to another, Lord. Father, we love and honor you this morning and glorify you in Jesus' name. Father, you said it in your word that no weapon formed against us will prosper. You said it in Philippians 4:13 that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us. Father, thank you for the strength that you give us each and every day. Touch those men to continually be fathers and husbands in their household. Touch them women so they can be mothers and wives to their husbands, Lord. Father, we want to thank you, Lord, for that. Father, thank you for all you do in our lives. Thank you for the mercy and grace that you give us, Lord. I'm asking you to touch each and every last one on this line. Keep them in a mighty way. Touch Raheem and his family. Touch this show, Morning Glow, in its continuation of success. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen, amen, amen. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Amen.
Amen, amen. Anybody got anything before we get out of here? Anybody got anything on their heart before we get out of here?
Yeah, Raheem, I just want to say this.
Okay.
You know, when you turn, you talk about the lion or the gazelle or something like that, but when you see the mother of an animal, and they take the predator and they react as an act of survival to protect their child, and you know they can get to the point that they kill the lion.
Yeah.
I just thought about that issue.
Absolutely. That's a good point. Good point. Anybody else have anything they want to say or add before we get out of here? Good deal. Good deal. Well,
we missed the little segment. What would you do? Ain't that
yeah. We'll pick it back up. Definitely pick it back up next week. I think y'all be looking forward to that. What would you do? Asking them questions. Well, it is now 10:04. 10:04. I want to thank you, Leonard. Oh, Leonard hung up. Oh yeah, Leonard hung up. Okay. It is now 10:04. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. It is now 10:04. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug. Because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Then we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day, and please, please, please be blessed. Take care of each other. See you Monday. If God said the same, have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Love ya.